Man, now there's a lot in my window. Tonight, I'm on my way. See her. What is up? What is up? What is up? What is up? Man, dude, you still awake, man? You should be asleep, Phil. Yeah, well, I ain't, so I can't really blame you. I done tried to go to sleep a couple times. Can't get there. Can't stay there. Won't let it happen, man. Just won't be there. Yeah, well, it's two here, so okay, yeah, you're further away than I am. 'Cause like I said, I've done tried repeatedly to get to sleep, and dogs won't let me and whatnot. So I figured if I'm awake anyway, Kyron figured out a way to get this to work so that I could stream here to the regular channels that I'm usually streaming on and stream over there to TikTok at the same time without getting too much contradiction and getting it to shut everything down. I had to go a little bit different way about it, but it's working. So good deal. I'm glad. What's up, Josh? Glad you could join in, man. Hope you enjoy the show. Not quite sure how long we're going to stay on. I usually use OBS because I've always had my camera upside down because I set my desk up in a closet. So the curtain rod above me actually works really good because I bought a bunch of these like clips and stuff that I can just clamp on to the closet rod and quickly move them around and have cameras that will like look down when I'm drawing traditionally, or I can capture my screen and then I've got a camera coming here. But because it's hanging from that, it's always been upside down. So I used OBS to get a better, and I could like crop off some of this extra stuff and I could affect the lighting and stuff and look better. And, it just worked out better for me that way. But to run OBS to do my virtual camera for Restream and to run Restream and to run TikTok crashed my computer when I tried to do it before and just nothing worked. So we're trying it this way. And now I had to flip my camera upside down so that it's looking at me right. But now I'm just using Restream, and then I'm using the feature on TikTok over there that captures. Restream's worked a lot better for me than StreamYard, and I get more bang for my buck with Restream and can do more to more places for less money than I could with StreamYard. What's up, kindness and compassion, coach? You already gone. All right. Uh, Works out pretty good for me. But that's a lot going on at one time. And the TikTok studio to run from the desktop eats up a good bit of power and a good bit of processor and stuff. This seems to be working pretty smooth. I mean, it seems to be working. I kind of prefer going live from my phone on the TikTok because I can see stuff better. I can see the comments a little bit better. But this way, I can stream the same right image that I'm doing here and stream it over there. And it seems to be working out pretty good. So, anyway, no, I'm not going to restart Windows. All right. I'm going to flip my page because I penciled it one way, and as anybody who watches me regularly knows, I flip my stuff over to ink it. And Now we're gonna get in here, get in on these old boys. I really thought I would have these pages for this client done by now, but I wasn't counting on like how many days I was going to have like tonight where I'm not sleeping, and that just really messed up my productivity and getting stuff done. So I kind of had to take advantage of it right now while I could. I was like, I'm clear headed enough, even though it's the middle of the night. I ought to get some work done and try and see if what Kyron was saying would work at the same time. Two birds, one stone. So, and I've had a lot of people on my TikTok asking me for some really specific details about how to do stuff in Clip Studio. And so I want to start being able to do more of these on TikTok as well, where I can actually show what's going on, how am I doing it, what tools am I hitting, what settings do I need to set up. I'm probably going to end up having to redo this gun. I'll bet you money, because it's not going to end up being the gun that dude is holding, that the figure's holding. But I'm willing to take that chance for right now. I'll redo it if I have to. It'll be all right. That's not going to work. I'm going to take that scope off, because it's just making the whole gun look bent, and the whole gun's not really that bent, except for the scope is way off. So I'll just put the handle up here and make that what's going on. And change the angle on that a little bit. And that'll fix most of my problems right there. Oops. Some people using StreamYard in place of OBS basically stops your computer from having to render the layouts. They do that on the server side. That way, computer has more power to focus on audio and video. They may have upped their game on StreamYard. If so, that's awesome. But like, we used to use StreamYard for 5-Star Fridays, and Restream just worked better when we moved over to it. And like I said, I get more bang for my buck on Restream. That's what I'm looking for. As far as like how many channels I get to stream to and stuff for the amount of money that I'm paying. And being a small businessman, that part right there makes a big difference, though. Though, like, I'm streaming to Twitch, and I don't think I've ever had a viewer from Twitch, or at least not for long. I had somebody go over there and check it out a couple of times, but not like regular. Kyron goes over there sometimes and watches, but Kyron will hop between 3 different platforms while he's watching. Hey, while you're there, PJ, can you hear that music? Like, is it loud enough? Is it picking up on here? I don't want to get myself dinged for a violation, but yeah, I never really got that hang of Twitch. I just never really found anything I was really very interested in. But it's a great platform for building viewers if you're doing the kind of stuff that they want to watch. And I was told that the art stream should do really well there, but I don't know if it's like it's probably like a lot of other platforms where if I'm not investing enough time in it myself outside of in the community building aspect outside of just doing my stream, I'm probably not going to get the kind of results I want out of it. Really, it's that loud because it's really quiet on my phone. I mean, 33% is not a whole lot, but oh, I got another viewer over there on TikTok. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I didn't catch who it was. Oh, it's Elijah Berry. About to go to bed, stumbled across the live. Hope it goes well. Good night. Good night, man. I'd like you to come on one of these days and hang out with me and do a stream. I'd like to have you on as a moderator to like ask questions and let me know when people are asking questions in the chat. But finding time that you can do that around work is tough. Oh, PJ says he spends all of his days day drinking. He says that's what the day's for. That's why they put it in day drinking. Day drinking and child chasing. That's what PJ spends his days doing. Could be worse. Man, I tell you what, the new con coming up and everything going on, my brain is torn like 10 ways to Sunday trying to figure all this stuff out. I'm trying to write it down. I'm trying to keep it out of my head so that I'm not wasting all my like mental processing power on it. But man, there's just so much stuff going on with the show coming and like I just decided at the last minute that I needed to go buy another TV to take to the con because the last few shows I went to, I took the TV that I'm now got mounted in here as my monitor for reference and stuff. Hey, yeah, Bear, if you're down for it, man, let me know. We'll schedule something. We can do it in the morning, absolutely, when before you go to work or something. Let me know. I would love to have you on. It would be a big benefit to me. We could even go on and draw together at the same time. My son's on TikTok caught it before he was headed to bed for the night. So he's chatting with me over yonder While Phil's chat with me over here. And I could have just done this on my regular streams, but one of the nice things that TikTok has started doing is they're using one of their AI programs to like go through automatically through my live streams, and it will go through and cut out like minute or 3 minute chunks that it thinks would make good short videos for me, and I can go in and download those, and it'll throw like auto captions over it and stuff, which is really handy to be able to get it to cut those up for me. And they're never great. I usually would have picked a little bit different spot, but it gets pretty good stuff and gives me some extra stuff to be able to share without having to stop and spend a whole day going through an hour and a half stream and cut everything out myself. Oh, got another viewer on there besides just my boy Bear. Man, I don't know what those guys are wearing. Wait a minute. Do I still have a picture of them around? No, that's the truck. Harley. That's those guys. Oh, I forgot I had a reference picture of them right here. Duh, dummy. Dasu Pooplehead. That's my name. Don't wear it out. Dasu Pooplehead is German for Mr. Fish. All right, put just a little. Well, no, he's got that gun in his hand, so I'll just put an empty holster here. Trying to watch two different screens at the same time is tough. Oh, looks like I lost Phil. He didn't want to stay up in the middle of the night and watch me rattle on like a fool. I'm shocked. My gas is flabbered. I'm flabbergasted, you might say. I mean, I wouldn't, but you might. I don't know where old Phil went. He's probably out night drinking now. Now that the day's worn off. Mistake. See, it's better than bacon. Tea and me. I do say, my wife is an optician. And once we got married, she made me get the glasses because apparently I'm not supposed to have a terrible headache at the end of the night after working for 12 hours straight. And so, thus, now I got to wear glasses to work. I can't even hardly read my phone without the glasses now. She took me to, had to get an eye exam again, and my prescription's a little bit different, and as always. And so now I got to go get new glasses. And we were looking, and I don't really fool around with it much. I just go in, pick something that's just general frame. I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm done. She's like, well, don't you want to look at this? Don't you want to look at that? I'm like, I'm good. Nah, I found glasses. They fit my head. I'm good. But this time, after I just picked something off the wall, she reached down in one of the drawers and pulled out some pretty glasses. Didn't know she kept pretty glasses in her drawers, did you? Neither did I. But she's an optician, so go figure. So anyway, after she pulled these pretty glasses out of the drawer, she showed it to me. I tried them on and they felt good and they were super light, and cool looking. So my only real priority up until this point has been, will they fit on my big giant head? Can I see out of them? And that's about it. Now she got me these cool, pretty glasses. I'm not going to know what to do with fancy glasses looking all handsome on here. Having all the ladies and half the fellas hitting on me every time I come on stream. Just trying to draw and tell people about my funny books. They gonna be all, ooh, look at this handsome fella with his fancy glasses. That looks like my kind of man. I don't have to go to fending off all that affections again. That's why I got old in the first place, trying to get the chickies to quit chasing me down the street. Turns out the older I get, the hotter and younger my wife gets. That's just, who would have thought Slim Shady be something you would have bought? I just said it. I didn't know you'd do it or not. Yeah, old PJ cut out on me, I guess. He said he had enough of that nonsense. Oh no. He just went over to TikTok. That's what he did. I dig Five Iron Frenzy too. My wife recent actually just turned me on to that. Well, just on a road trip 2 years ago. But considering to the music that I listen to, mostly is stuff I've been listening to for 30 years. A couple of years ago is pretty recent. This is Ballroom Blitz by Sweet. To a ballroom blitz. Ballroom blitz. Ballroom blitz. All right, now something's going on because I got a PJ over here. Oh, PJ's over there giving me a halo of hearts because PJ's one of the real ones. He's over there giving me the likes and shares on the TikTok like the real ones do. He learned from old Fishy. That's a good thing to do for your buddies. That'll help TikTok say, hey, they like this an awful lot. We need to give this old man some more attention. His friends come in and just blow it up with the likes. Knuckle, 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 knuckle. Having to diversify as much as I can and do as much as I can on as many platforms to try and make a little money here or there. My Patreon finally started looking up. Got another subscriber over there finally because I finally started talking about it again, which did me good. If I could start remembering to put the work into advertising the Patreon as well as the TikTok shop, and start sleeping at night so I could get more work done, I could start doing just my own books full time and quit having to worry about all this nonsense. Oh, yeah. Actually, like 2 songs before probably was Five Iron Frenzy. There's a lot of them on there. Well, I don't know if I'd say a lot compared to like Dead Milkmen or They Might Be Giants or something, but there's a lot of their songs on there. I'd be glad to be able to send these over to Shane finally. Give her some work. I got all the pages for Cough Flatted, but until I get done with some of these pages and make a little extra money, I just don't have the cash on hand right now to pay her the flat cough. And she's done spoiled me. She does such a good job. It's so quick and it saves me so much time and hassle. I just don't want to do it myself anymore. I'm spoiled. Right. You know us Gen Xers, known for a spoiled, lackadaisical lack of work ethic. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's not us. That's what everybody says about everybody else. Everybody tends to leave us the hell alone when they're picking on each other. I had a really interesting conversation tonight with a young up and coming manga artist, and he was really interested to hear what I thought about his work and asked me for an honest critique, and he told me don't hold back, be truthful with me, and I was, and I really appreciated his attitude and the way that he came at it and the way he received those critiques, because I remember what it's like to be a young cat and be throwing everything you've got into it, and but you're not quite where you want to be yet. Man, I've been there. I lived that life. And and I've always been unnaturally fast with my work, and everybody kept giving me the same advice that I needed to slow down. And and honestly, for me, that wasn't the answer. Like I might need to work on my anatomy or my perspective or something, but that wasn't a speed thing. That was a I need to work on something else because I wasn't rushing. Like I wasn't putting out half-assed work because I was going so fast. That's just the speed I worked at. That's the speed my brain ran at. And so it wasn't that I wasn't trying. It wasn't that I didn't know. Oh man, that's awesome. You got to hear 5 Iron live all the time in high school. That man, that's awesome, dude. I'm jealous. From somebody who like just recently found out about them in the last couple of years. But man, I'm a fan now. But anyway, this cat was really receptive to what I was saying and took my suggestions to heart. And granted, even we do different style stuff. Like I know manga has some different rules and some different expectations because those guys are expected to get stuff knocked out so fast. And so, and he's trying to keep up with the kind of page rate per day that, the mangakas in Japan are doing. And from the guy who penciled an entire book in 29 hours once, I was like, take it with a grain of salt, but my advice would be slow down just a little bit because, like, his proportions and his shapes and all that stuff were all real solid, real good stuff. The only real problem, I, from my eye, what I was seeing was that he was rushing to try and try and keep up with that kind of speed. And I know what it's like because I've got to make myself slow down sometimes, because this is when you're paid per page, it's in your best interest to go as fast as you can go and get as much as you can get done at one time. And sometimes that has led me to just, going with my first thing I laid down, even though the more I looked at it, the more I was like, yeah, I could probably take another pass at that. But I didn't. And then, later on, I really regretted that I didn't take another pass at that. There's actually one of the covers hanging on the wall back there that really bugs me. And there's just a lot of little things on it. There's this face, that arm, that hand, just stuff all over the page that bugs me. And I treated it like it was any other page and didn't give it the special reverence it deserved as a cover to take the time to do another pass and fix those problems. And to make matters worse, the artist that the client got to do a variant cover did such a better job than I did. So you've got my slightly wonky cover, and then you've got this other artist, really nice, really solid, really dramatic, well laid out cover. And that chapped my butt. So ever since, I have kept that cover on the wall where I can see it to remind me not to get lazy again when I'm doing a cover and always be willing to stop and take another pass at it. always be willing to stop and look critically at my own work and ask the tough questions like, is this good enough? I mean, you could always do better, and I'm not going to just keep redoing stuff forever trying to reach some imagined perfect because that ain't never going to happen, and then I'll never get any pages done. But I definitely challenge myself to keep a better eye out on it. For me, where I am right now, it is 2:34 in the morning, man. Tried hard to sleep, could not do it. I tried. But like I said, I really respected the dude's response. Had a great attitude, a great response to receiving criticism, which some people might not have been able to take as well. And that really tells me that this cat's going to do good in this business because it's a tough business. Let's see. I think I got my own chain brush over here. Let's look. Do I have a fish chain in here? Put one in here somewhere. I know I've got. No, I got it somewhere. I just don't know where I put it. All right, let's. Let's just go ahead and duplicate this subtool and see if I've got the chain thing in here. See if I've got the chain texture downloaded on this computer at least. Where did I put my pen? I swear, Great Google Moga, I just had that freaking stylus in my hand. Stupid thing. All right, that's a little bit too big. We probably gonna want to drop the size of that down just a hair, I imagine. That's still a touch too hefty. But yeah, I met a lot of young guys lately, that are wanting to get into this business that have been asking questions, and I've been really impressed with everybody's attitude and their ability to receive feedback. And that's really what's going to make a difference in how well you do in this business because I don't care who you are. You know, Jim Lee turns in some pages and an editor is going to be like, we need to fix that. I know it makes sense to you, but it's not going to make sense to the readers. We could do better on that. But it's going to happen. It happens to everybody. And that's one of the problems about being the creator on something. Like it makes perfect sense to you because you know what you intended. But that doesn't mean anybody else gets it, because they're not in your head. That's a regular mistake I see from like first time comic writers. They have the whole universe in their head, so they're writing things and just expecting the audience to be able to make the assumptions and know what's going on, but the audience only gets what we give them on the page. They don't have that whole world in their head. They don't know that, these two went to summer camp together or whatnot, and that nickname he just called her is, from Camp Winnipeg or whatever. Like, we only know what you show us and tell us. But it's easy to forget that and get caught up in how much you know about the world and not spell stuff out clearly. And when you know everything, sometimes it feels like you're spelling stuff out for a toddler. It's like, oh, I want it to be better than that. I don't. But we got to spell things out for people because they don't know what this world's like. Especially if your world's very different than other worlds. If your book starts out in a dark, smog laden city in the rain and there's a dark, brooding figure sitting on a rooftop, going on about, how his beloved city has fallen into disarray and the scum has taken over. Okay, we can grab a hold of that shorthand and realize, okay, this is Gotham, and that's a Batman like character, and okay, we can go from there and we can make the assumptions to know what's going on. But if your world's different and you're trying to do different things, you got to explain that stuff to us, or we're not going to know it. Which has been the hard thing for me with Green Zone because the world works so differently than most comic book worlds. I'm constantly second guessing myself, like, how far do I need to take this? How much do I need to explain, and how much can I hope the reader is going to put together? Did I give them enough information to fill in the blanks and leave them with enough questions to make them want to come back for more? Or did I leave them so confused they're like, man, screw this. This doesn't make sense. One of my favorite experiences, kind of hinting on that, in the last couple of years in an indie book was, it was a cool book. It was, monsters fighting for the government kind of thing. And, they're trying to stop some horrible thing from happening. And they're in a museum trying to stop the bad guys from doing the bad things. And then all of a sudden, this lady appears, and one of the characters is like, Rachel. And my first response was, who the hell is Rachel? We haven't seen her before. She hasn't been introduced. I have no idea who this person is. And I was kind of outraged that I had no idea who this person was. And then they immediately dealt with it on the next page. Like after the page turn, they explained who she was, how they knew her, and why, and just, a couple of little bits of dialogue or whatever. And all of a sudden it made sense. And I was like, you made me ask the question and then you answered it for me. clever. PJ said something, and I haven't looked at the thing. PJ said, "Hey, at least you read the scripts." Most everyone I've met with has had them and not read them, and then wants me to tell them everything. Yeah. So I will admit, I've had a couple of people get mad at me because, like, they wrote a novel that they want to convert into a comic, and then they would be like, "Hey, here, I'm just going to give you the novel for free," because they're doing me this major gift by giving it to me for free and not charging me. And I'll just give you the novel for free, and you can just read the novel real quick, and we'll come back and talk about it. And I'm like, I hate to be that guy, but honestly, that's going to take me so much time to do. I was like, unless you're going to pay me to read that novel, I can't do that. I don't. I mean, and these are always gigantic tomes of information. These are never short stories. These are always like 500, 600-page books that they've written. They clearly didn't know how to edit that down into a reasonable size. And now they can't figure out how to edit it down into a script size. And I'm like, no, that I can't do that. And they're like, okay, well, just take the take the novel and just cut that down into 22 pages of comic for me. I'm like, nope, that's not my job. If you want to pay me, like $1,000 to do that, spend a month going through your book and figuring out what parts are the most important themes and what parts can be edited out and left out. Like, I mean, I'll do it if you want to pay me to do it. I'm not doing that for free. No, I'd pay $50 for someone to do that to me. They had a script review service and basically said all my ideas were great. No other feedback. Oh man. I mean, unless you just came out the gate as, insert famous writer here, man. I don't even know who to name. I first thought of Stephen King, but honestly, I don't like Stephen King's books very much. I know I'm in the minority, but to me, his books always just feel like he writes himself into a corner and then just comes up with something stupid to end it. And, it feels like he had part of a really good idea and then didn't bother finishing it, to me. And I know other people think that he's a genius and whatnot and just love it, but it's not my thing. And I don't mind one bit if you love him and think he's the best writer on the face of the earth. I'm glad you enjoy it. It's just not for me. Well, I've had 34 views in the middle of the night, though most of them didn't last very long. But still, that ain't bad. Starting to feel tired, but once I go lay in there, I'm going to be wide awake again. But I'm gonna finish this dude, and then I'll try and go get some sleep and see what happens. Worst case, I get to snuggle up against a pretty little lady for a little while. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Man, this is the first time, and I can't even remember how long, that I'm not at Little Rock Comic Con. But I kind of got screwed on that deal this year. But things happen. Not gonna cry about it. Got another con coming up in Memphis in a couple of weeks. I thought it was this next week, but apparently it's not. Which is what I was buying the TV for, which I started talking about earlier and then veered off onto some nonsense and never finished talking about it. Go figure. Fishy got sidetracked talking nonsense. That has to be a first. PJ better put that down in his calendar. Because that ain't likely to happen again. My daughter and her friends are there. They got a hotel room above the convention center so that they could have a place to chill out if they got overwhelmed because all the girls have anxiety and whatnot. And that way they can do their costume changes and whatnot without having to change in the bathroom, and can go up to their room and eat the food they brought and their snacks and not have to pay a fortune for crappy watered down drinks. But yeah, it feels weird not being there this time around. I can't believe they just say, "Oh yeah, that's great," and not no feedback at all. I gotta admit, it kind of bothers me a little bit when I send pages to an editor and I don't get anything but, you know, spell checking. I'm like, if there's anything that doesn't read right, if there's anything that doesn't make sense, and I know I'm not tooting my own horn, but I know I'm pretty good at this, but I'm also not stupid enough to think I'm the best at it. Like, I go back and look at things, in previous books, and I'm like, man, I could have done that better. I could have done that better. Man, this thing's into this gun's all kind of limp. Come on, soldier, you're supposed to be excited to shoot Harley in the face. Gotta stay at attention there, son. Yeah, like I got a whole lot of stories I want to tell. I got a lot that I want to do. I have no misconceptions that I'm better than anybody else, anyhow. I'm just a dude. He's got a lot of stories in his head, and I'd like to get as many of them out as I can before I shuffle off this mortal coil. If I can get some of them out and let people enjoy them, I'll be a happy man. File, import, image. I think we gotta go to last year's. Man on the moon. Man, that one dude in your comments, PJ, he was just all up on you, Jock, wasn't he? He just was not fixing to quit arguing with you. I was floored with how long that had to go back and forth. Yeah. It's jumping on, a misspoken word is not the point of what you were saying, and it doesn't undo the point that you were trying to make just because, you know that's just internet trolls. That's how they do. Like, oh, you misspelled something. And that's really not the point. That's not what we were talking about. Oh, you misspelled it, you're stupid. Mhm. All right, then, that's what you care more about than what we were talking about. Like, oh man, I had one dude get real mad at me in a conversation, and part of it is over texts and stuff and comments and replies. You don't have the tone of voice and stuff to transmit it, and he took it as I was like really fighting with him, and I wasn't fighting with him. I was just we were talking about something, and he was arguing that some show that I had enjoyed, had literally been a failure by any means that you could measure it by. It was a failure. And he was like, it was objectively a failure. And I was like, well, how is it objectively a failure? Like, how can you prove that this was objectively a failure? I want to know what your what's up, Ryujin? Um, and so we got in this argument, and like I was just trying to see what his point was and clarify the conversation, because he kept saying that this show was objectively a failure because he didn't like it as much as the first show. And this was a spin-off, or another show, kind of like the Legend of Korra, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like it was something like that. It might have been that show, I can't remember. But he kept talking about how the second was objectively a failure. And, by any metric, it was worse. And I was like, well, but the second season lasted longer. It like the first season of this show lasted like a year. The second show lasted like 3 to 5 years. And I was like, thank you so much for the heart, dude. I really appreciate that. Thank you. The second dude it by that metric, it objectively did better. It made more money for everybody. It lasted longer. It made more money for the studio. It got more episodes. Well, if all you care about is money, and I'm like, I'm not saying all I care about is money, and I honestly agree that I liked the first one better. But you said that objectively this one was worse, and you can't give me any points that are objectively worse. You just keep telling me that you don't like it. And I was like, that's subjective. And you can say it's subjectively worse. You don't like it. That's fine. You don't have to like it. There's all kinds of shows that are popular that I couldn't give a flip about. I ain't never watched a Real Housewife of nothing, and I ain't never gonna watch it. I don't care. It's not interesting to me. But even though I subjectively have no interest in it and I subjectively don't like it, I cannot argue that objectively they're very successful shows that make a lot of money and a lot of people watch them. I don't have to understand why they like it to admit that people like them and they make a lot of money, or they wouldn't keep making them. No businessman is going to, unless he's an indie comic producer, no businessman is going to keep, throwing stuff away like that, throwing good money after bad. We'll do it for some reason. We'll keep doing a comic series that don't sell and just keep cranking it out because we love it. But, more because we subjectively love it. More objective businessmen wouldn't do that. All right. After 3 days of inking, this page is done, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, I think that'll do. I cannot believe this page took me that long to do, but part of it, I was having trouble getting my OneDrive to back up from this computer. So, like, man, thank you so much for the gifts, dude. I really appreciate that, man. That really made my night. Thank you very much, man. And a rose. Thank you, dude. I ain't about to do a whole bunch of NPC. Ooh, roses. I ain't gonna do all that crap. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. That's very kind of you. I made like $10 last month on my lives, and I only went live like probably 5 times last month or something. I need to start doing more because I need to start pitching more books, and I need to start telling more people to go check out my TikTok shop. And we've got bundles of all the books. We've got all kinds of stuff. Man, I'm fixing to have to put my TikTok shop on pause. I'm fixing to have to put it on hold for the weekend because I'm going to sell out of my issues of Caw at the convention. I'm debating about if I could get more copies printed and get them to me in time before the show. So, like, I'm not sure I could get them here in time for the show, but I'm going to have to put my shop on pause for the weekend at least so I don't end up selling books that I sell out of at the con. So, if anybody wants to get in on my shop right now, you need to do it before I go to this convention and potentially sell out of a lot of these books because I guarantee you I'm going to sell out of my source books. I'm going to sell out of Caw. I'm going to sell out of all my variant covers. So, now's the time to get in on it if you want some. And like most of those Caw variant covers are never getting printed again. So the couple that I have left in the shop are all there is. And I'm probably not printing up most of the variant covers of Green Zone again. Like those covers will show up in the trade paperback and stuff, along with, fan art and pinups and things, but they're not going to be printed again. So if you want the Mike Watson cover or the Chris Thomas cover or the amazing freaking Drew Moss covers, so freaking beautiful. they're only available in my shop right now. Once they're gone, they're gone. And I'm probably going to sell out of a bunch of those Drew Moss covers at the convention because, dude, they're sweet. They're awesome looking. All right, I'm going to save this. And I'm going to close that out. Let's see. How long have we been going? We've been going an hour. All right, I'm going to get off of here and drink a little more water and see if I can't get to bed. Thank you guys for hanging out, man. And Ryujin, thank you so much for the gifts, man. That's the first bear I got, dude. And all those roses, man. All those roses, dude. Thank you so much for that, man.